Would our students like to lead us in the flag salute? All right. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act as met and released by the Board of Education in the Borough of Oradell. Notice of receipt was filed in the record of town news and all persons requesting such notice. Mr. Walsh, would you read the mission statement?
Yes. The Oradell Public School District, a safe and nurturing learning community dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of educational excellence, inspires lifelong learning in its children through comprehensive, innovative curriculum and instruction. The district fully supports and expects the attainment of the New Jersey core curriculum content standards on the part of all students within a school environment designed to maximize student potential, develop responsible citizens, and promote respect for the uniqueness of all individuals.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Griffin?
Here.
Mrs. Levy?
Here.
Mrs. Nguyen? Here. Mrs. Shapiro? Mrs. Walker? Here. Mr. Walsh?
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Nichols?
Here, open to the public for agenda items only. Okay, not seeing any, we'll move forward into my report. I think we have a presentation tonight, Dr. Ansel. Want to tell us about it?
Yes. Actually, I'm going to introduce our teacher, Mrs. Pisa, from 3rd grade, who is going to be talking a little bit about a student activity called the Academics Cup.
Back on the first Thursday and Friday in February, the 3rd grade here in Oradell Public School participated in the Academics World Cup. So what it basically is math, fact, multiplication, fluency. The games open on Thursday morning at 8 o'clock and will go through Friday until midnight. It's worldwide, so time zones and differences come into play, but the kids ran to school early. We started class at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they started multiplying. And we played, so cumulatively, we answered as a class 172,218 multiplication examples. At the end of the 2 days, I get a report on the students. They increased in their speed and fluency in answering by 10%. And they were 8% more accurate at the end of the 2 days. So it really does encourage learning multiplication facts. They have a lot of fun. They wanted to stay in at lunchtime. They didn't want to go to special. They just wanted to multiply. This continued when they went home, so I can go on and watch the report, and I can see who's playing, and I can see their numbers. Some of those students were back and forth vying for first place with kids in other parts of the country, the world. And it went on basically all night long. In the end, our class, 3P ended up coming in for, it was 19 to 50 students, I think was the parameters. We came in 6th place.
How many teams are like how many? It doesn't matter. 6 in the world.
Over 300,000 names and 10 million answers worldwide.
Nice.
Worldwide. This was not by grade level. This was just by class, the size of your group. And then individually they have leaderboards and they compete among other 3rd graders. And when they compete against other 3rd graders, it's for top score, correct in a row, percent correct in a row. There's different categories. And they will tell you individually how they did and how they placed. But we had 2 students who scored first in the world. We had 2 students who scored second. We had 3 fifth place, 2 fifth place, 7th place, They know their faces. They worked very, very hard. The entire class as a collective whole, everybody contributed from the strongest multiplier to the weakest multiplier. They went home, they played at home, they played in class, and they encouraged one another, which is always nice to see.
How many days is it over? Is this
It's 2 days.
It's just 2 days, that's it.
Yes.
And is
So-
all the third grade students or just yours?
Many students did it. Not every teacher put in as much time as my class put in.
Okay, but just 2
that.
days, that's it.
Yes, so they use the program year-round, and it's a program that we use for not just multiplication. We use it for spelling. There's division, there's all different types of fact fluency, and then there's a small amount of language arts components that they can use it for. And then you get reports, and it tells you. So for example, the multiplication, it goes into 7 different, they break it into 7 domains. By the time we completed this, my students have mastered 6 of the 7. It includes the 12 line tables, which technically is not part of third grade, but they know them because you have to be able to do it in order to complete a game successfully. So they're each going to tell you how they did, and explain a little bit, and then we thought maybe you'd like to play a game. So 2 of them, we have 2 us.
Okay.
So we can have 4 people play, so we have 2 students ready to play against 2 people who'd like to play.
They're going to talk about first. Let's get one.
Okay.
See what he was talking about. Maybe Mr. Walker wants to do
If
it.
we have worldwide
Mrs. Walker
winners,
wants to do one.
worldwide winners, I'm intimidated.
Exactly. All right. Wait for the mic, Mrs. Pisa. We'll give you the mic.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I came in second place in most points. I had 34,356 points and ran 3 academics. Most points means you are points for completing games. The more accurate you are, and the quicker you answer the questions, and the more points.
Very nice. Second, you said second place? Very nice.
Hi, my name is Elise. I got 5th place in the category most points. You earn points by playing a lot of games. The more accurate you are, the more points you earn. I earned 21,951 points. I won Papa John's pizza gift certificate in his certificate.
Nice.
Hi, my name is Alessandro. I came 1st place and top scorer of the Academic World Cup. I completed a game in 46.72 seconds and answered 40 questions. You are in the top score by accurately answering the most questions first. The fastest person to do it wins top score. I won a trophy, a certificate, a pizza gift card, and it was a lot of fun. It was a fun time competing with my friends in 3rd grade across the world.
Did you say 40 questions in 46 seconds? Impressive.
Let's see if this works. This works. Perfect. Okay. Hi, my name is Claire. I played in the Architects Grand Prix Little Club. I got 5th place in the first incorrect. I worked hard and I never gave up.
Excellent. We want it black.
Mine wasn't working then.
Hi, my name is Cynthia. I got 1st place in the category correct in a row. My score was 2,069. In this category, you have to keep getting the answer correct. When I got to 2,069, my computer glitched and I got one wrong. It was a lot of fun playing Grand Prix.
First place.
Hi, my name is Anna. I played the Academics World Cup. I won 2nd place in correct in a row. I earned 1,142 points. In this category, you have to get all the answers right to earn the points. I stayed up until 12 o'clock midnight playing. The strategy I used was slow and steady.
Good job.
place in the correct in a row. I was up late. I was 100 points away from third place. Then I got one wrong because my computer glitched, and I knew it was over, so I went to bed.
My name is Samuel. I scored 7th place in the Academics Grand Prix World Cup. I got sick with an ear infection on the Friday of the Grand Prix World Cup, but I still played from home. I won a Papa John's pizza party.
You were sick and you still played. So where do we play? Mrs. Walker, would you like to be one of the contestants?
Can I have a buddy?
Mr. Walsh,
Can I
you want to do it?
friend?
Go ahead, Mr. Walsh.
No pressure. No pressure whatsoever.
Sophia's game?
Yeah.
Gotta watch out here. It's take a seat, right?
Mr. Walsh and Mrs. Walker, are you guys okay with clapping?
Oh, the more clapping, the better.
Good. Pretty good. Everyone clapping.
Sit down.
So who's who? Mrs. Pete, are you going to tell us who's who? Okay. Mr. Walsh is which one? Number 3? Oh, he's 3.
Well, first we have to get your name.
Big John. Rita, did you pick a name? Let's do Sweet Arita. We got Big John and Sweet Arita.
It's a private game, right?
Private name.
Private game.
John's ready to go. Okay. You changing your color? You can't change your name.
I do.
Plan according.
I'm Corey.
Okay.
But I'm thinking.
You ready?
Yeah.
There's no competition.
Will it just come on? Will it just come on? Okay.
Feel like who's winning? Go, Sophia.
Come on, board members, you're falling behind. Come on, Big Jack. Let's go, Sweet Arita. Yes, maybe the competitors should come up too. Go ahead, Mrs. Rita. Player visitors, Big John, let's go. Get in that picture. Go ahead, go the picture, Mr. Wall.
Sophia.
Here, come up here and see, join me.
Hopefully some of this will rumble up.
One again.
Why don't we have the, can we have the kids,
Turn a little bit sideways.
right there, because we can see you.
Okay, can we see you all? If I can see your face, I can see you on that. I'm going to ask you one time. Everybody take a little step this way. This way, right step. You have this chair. It's like a dance. That is interfering.
All right, well, let Garrett go on. 1, 2, 3, smile. Great job, I'll get out of the way.
Okay, my turn. Awesome. 2, 3. Stop.
Great job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Pizza, for bringing your class to us. We appreciate it. We love it. Yes.
Nothing like a little competition.
They were outside the door before it began. Someone snapped a picture. It's on. Yes.
Okay, moving forward, I guess we'll go to the superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you. So, at our last meeting, I mentioned that we were going to be giving board updates on our progress on the school district. So for this meeting, we're going to be talking about the social and emotional learning. And so I'm going to ask our principal and talk a little bit about where we're at with SEL.
So how many of you would have experienced that moment just now of competition and felt a little anxious? That is the culture that our children are living in. Win, go faster, do better, win. And that's part of why SEL has become so important. So I realized today, as I was doing a little gut check before presenting, that I'm more nervous than I normally am. And I realized that's because if I think of anything that is important to me as principal of Oradell Public School, it is creating strong social emotional learning programs and creating students that have the skills to advocate for themselves, to deal with their emotions, to deal with anxiety, and to be prepared for the challenges that they are going to face in middle school, in high school, and beyond. So today what Mr. Hagopian and I are going to do is we are going to try to educate you on social emotional learning and also inform you about where we are and where we're moving. Now, the charge this year was to identify a social emotional learning program. That's different than social emotional learning activities. So if we're going to identify a program, then what we first have to do is decide, why is social emotional learning important? It is incredibly apparent that our students are more anxious now than they were even 7 years ago when I first arrived. The number of students that we are sending out in crisis has tripled. The number of families that we are seeing in crisis has tripled over the past 7 years. We clearly are not alone in this. If you ask West Bergen Mental Health or any other social agencies in the area, they will tell you this is a trend in Bergen County. So our families are also feeling the same thing that we're noticing. Last night, many of you know, we had a parent academy on anxiety. There were over 60 parents here. That is the most I've ever seen at a parent academy at OPS. The topic is anxiety. It was the topic that our parents said we need help with. So we know as a school community, we need to address this as well for a social emotional learning program. We also know that there are some standards in the state and there are some mandates coming down. We know that we need 150 minutes of PE and health each week. We know that starting next year in grades K through 5, we need a mandated 20 minutes of recess every day. We can use social emotional programs to help us meet some of those mandates. And what we really need to do right now as a community is share a common definition of what social emotional learning is. Because it's one of those terms that gets thrown around everywhere. I've been talking about it at OPS and at board meetings for 4 years, but we've yet to define it consistently for our community. So that's exactly what Mr. Hagopian is going to do today. He's going to share with you some work that he's already shared with our staff during PD days last spring and this fall.
Thank you, Ms. Bozios. And I think the key word is try, because Ms. Bozios is absolutely correct. We all have a different understanding of what social emotional learning is. Not just that in Oradell, not just in the county or the state, but countrywide. It is. I just attended a meeting yesterday amongst 20 other administrators from the county who all had a different interpretation and understanding of where their districts were going to go with it. And it was very interesting to see how each one of them thought about it, how they wanted to utilize social emotional learning, incorporate it into their school, and which students needed it and which students didn't need it. So what I'm going to do for you today, at least for my portion of the presentation, is to go and discuss a little bit about the CASEL 5 competencies, core competencies. I ask you that you bear with me, that we'll do our best to try and make sure that we can kind of paint a picture of what we believe is an understanding of it, and come to have more common language and common understanding of it, for at least for our purposes. So I'm going to start with this little video. Okay, so we want students to talk a little bit first. We're going to say, understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. These are the core competencies that we're going to discuss, but we're going to hopefully start with a video that will hopefully start us off painting a picture of what we're trying to discuss. had so much emphasis and focus on, and every school does, language arts and math and science and social studies. These are the things that we focus on. Are we teaching explicitly what we need to be teaching students in regard to social and emotional learning so that they are available to learn? So what are the 5 core competencies? So self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. These are all skills that in the future and now, students need to work together, and in future jobs they're going to be working with others. The first core competency we're going to talk about is self-awareness. And it's the ability to accurately recognize one's own emotions, thoughts, and values, and how they influence their behavior. The ability to accurately assess one's strengths and limitations with a well-grounded sense of confidence, optimism, and a growth mindset. So we have a few bullets here listing some of those skills. An example is that when we speak to our students here at school, we'll say, what were you feeling when you said something? So for example, a student might say, I don't know, it just came out of my mouth, versus I was hurt by what that student said. So therefore, I wanted them to know how it felt. And those are the types of responses we're receiving from our students. So, we want them to have that growth mindset and self-compassion and viewing their failures as part of the process. Being patient with their self and seeing the big picture of their life. So perspective is a big piece to this. Core competency number 2 is self-management. Okay, we talk about self-regulation a lot here at schools, and understanding when we try to explain to the students that they have an engine. Sometimes our engine is running too slow, or perhaps our engine is running too fast. We want them to understand that their bodies might need something, and being able to manage themselves under stress, as we learned yesterday with our presentation last night. Stress creates anxiety, and it's something that we need to help students be able to manage. So some of those coping skills and through the activities that our students have already been learning here in school, as simple as the speaker was speaking about last night, was belly breathing. Just a simple strategy of just taking a deep breath. Whenever we're all feeling stressed, many of us take a deep breath. Sometimes people don't know just to do that. They don't have those tools, and that's part of the responsibility of this core competency. Core competency number 3 is social awareness, the ability to take the perspective and empathize with others. And that's a very strong, something that we don't necessarily, kids, their brains aren't developed enough to be able to understand how what comes out of their mouth, how it impacts others. So having perspective of someone else's and having empathy for the way others feel is very, very difficult. The way we speak to our students when we have these types of things happen in our school where they hurt someone's feelings, we might ask them, we'll say, how would you feel if someone did that to you? We've all probably done that as parents and aunts and uncles, and just being, seeing people, and you say, how would you feel if someone did that to you? And that's a big question to ask them. And sometimes kids, they go with simple answers, such as like, oh, I would feel sad. And we need to get a little bit deeper in regard to that and teaching them to have respect for others. Core competency number 4 is relationship skills. Relationship skills for this one is having healthy relationships with others. It's also being able to work in teams and understand one's own strengths and other people's strengths in your group, so that you can choose tasks to work on. This is something that we do as an admin team, teachers do, and members of the board. Each one of you has a strength that you bring to the table, and that's an area that as a team, you guys each divvy up the work. And that's the terms that we use in our classes when our kids are working in cooperative groups, because that's what life will more than likely be for them when they get older. Core competency number 5 is responsible decision making. Making constructive choices about their behavior and their interactions based on just being ethical or safety or social norms. So identifying those problems. So, once we know our expectations and that they are common as a school district, and we can communicate that to students, then we hope that they can then compare their actions to the standard and reflect on those areas of personal growth as they might be needed. These are not easy skills. These can't just be taught on the fly. they are going to have to be embedded throughout one's schooling. But we also need to make sure that our staff has the exact same skill set they're able to then teach them. Just like they have to have the content knowledge to teach math or teach science or social studies or language arts, they also need to have that as well. So this table that's up just kind of further supports what we're looking to do, which is, teaching explicit SEL skills. Students will then acquire that knowledge and then hopefully will provide us with positive outcomes and social behaviors. I don't need to necessarily read each one of these for you. But again, I just want to be clear about one thing. CASEL is not a program. CASEL is the framework in which many programs are designed off of this framework. This framework is supported by the New Jersey Department of Education. They are training all of the administrators with this framework, and it does have a lot of strong, it is a strong framework to start the process of selecting a program. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Ms. Bozio, so she's going to tell you how we are currently addressing SEL here at OPS.
If I was a board member standing here right now, I'd be looking at the principal going, we've been talking about SEL for about 3 years now, to do something. But the truth is we have been doing something. We have been doing social emotional learning activities. So that's exactly the types of things Mrs. Mason shared with you last year, and we continue to focus on. This year we've had the Captain Snout lessons. Captain Snout is a book. Mrs. Mason has now made it into a game. What Captain Snout tries to do is to fight the ants that are in all of our heads. So for example, many of our 5th and 6th grade boys did not dress up for Dress As Your Favorite Book Character Day. You know why? Because the ant in their head was the mind reader ant. My friends are going to make fun of me if I do this today. That's one of the ants that Captain Snout gives us the skills to fight. We have the bad's always in your head ant. Oh, this test is just hard, I can't do it, I can't do it, I don't know anything. So there are 5 different ants that Mrs. Mason has been teaching our students about through this program and the game that she has created.